Chapter 11, Collision Course. The moment Alara stepped into the corridor, it was like flipping a switch. No more soft gazes, no more quiet corners of almost connection. Just tension, raw and razor-edged. She adjusted the strap of her bag, her expression unreadable behind her glasses. The old Alara would have shrunk beneath the hallway noise, the laughter, the careless bumps of shoulders, the occasional stares. The new Alara, she moved through it like a shadow in silk. Untouchable, unbothered. But she could feel him. Aiden Cross, standing at the other end of the hall, surrounded by friends, half laughing at something, yet his gaze flicked, just for a second, toward her. Like a needle finding its compass. And it burned. No fire in heart, not even warmth. Just friction. They hadn't spoken since the incident in the library. Since his voice had dropped too low and his stare had lingered too long. Since he'd walked away again, leaving only questions, as always. Now, their worlds collided under the guise of school elections. Student council campaigns, posters, debates, speeches. And one unexpected twist, Alara had signed up. Aiden had never taken her seriously, not really. He was used to everyone admiring from a distance, not stepping into the arena with him. He hadn't expected her name on the board beside his. But now, every hallway became a battlefield. Every glance, a bullet. You running for president? He'd asked, leaning against the student council bulletin the day the names went up. His voice was casual, his smile was lazy, but his eyes weren't smiling. Alara had looked at him once, slow and cold. Why not? Someone needs to offer more than charm and empty speeches. Aiden's friends laughed, but he didn't. He just looked at her. Like he was seeing someone he hadn't properly noticed until too late. And maybe that was the worst part. You've changed, he said softly. Not teasing, not accusing, just something else. Alara tilted her head. No, I just stopped waiting to be seen. The days that followed were war in slow motion. Flyers competed on walls like silent screams. Alara's speeches were calm, calculated, full of purpose. Aiden's were passionate, magnetic, full of fire. But the real battle played out in the silence between them. One lunchtime, they crossed paths by the courtyard bench, both reaching for the last cup of tea from the vending stand. Their hands touched. Brief. Electric. Aiden froze. Alara didn't flinch. Take it, she said, voice neutral. You sure? His tone was light, but his eyes flicked to hers, searching, restless. She nodded once. It's just tea, but they both knew it wasn't. Later that evening, in the quiet of his room, Aiden sat at his desk, staring at the half-written notes for his campaign. He couldn't focus. Her voice, her stare, the way she no longer looked at him like he mattered. It was haunting. He tossed the pen aside and lay back on his bed, arm draped over his eyes. And there, in the blur of half-sleep and restless memories, her face appeared again. Not the new version, the younger one, the one who sat by the window in the art room, sketching with trembling fingers. The one who had whispered words of understanding when he hadn't deserved them. And suddenly, it hurt. Really hurt. Because he'd walked away, again and again. And now, she was untouchable. Alara, meanwhile, stood at her window, arms crossed, staring into the dark sky. She remembered too, a boy who had looked at her like she might matter, only to vanish the next second. A childhood engagement neither of them had known about until that file resurfaced in the school's ancient family registry archive, a few weeks ago. They hadn't spoken about it. And they wouldn't, because it didn't mean anything. At least, that's what she told herself. But deep inside, her walls trembled. The auditorium buzzed. Students filed in, laughter echoing, phones flashing, excitement rising. Debate day. Alara stood backstage, her fingers lightly gripping the podium edge. Her notes were perfect, her voice steady, her mind turbulent. She heard his voice before she saw him. Think she'll manage to get through without turning the room into an icebox. The comment wasn't cruel, just careless. Typical Aiden. He always used sarcasm when he didn't know how to feel. She stepped out then, eyes locking with his. I might freeze it on purpose, she said, calm and sweet with an undercurrent of steel. He smirked, but something in his posture changed. Less confident, more vulnerable. The debate began. Speeches were exchanged. Applause scattered. The tension thickened with every answer. But when Alara stepped up for her closing remarks, she hesitated. Not because of nerves, because for a moment, she saw him. Not the rival, not the golden boy, just Aiden, the one who'd once shared his snack with her on a rainy day. The one who used to chase butterflies with her in her grandmother's garden. The boy who used to listen. She swallowed. Her voice, when it came, was soft, trembling with weight. Leadership isn't about loud voices or charm. It's about seeing people, really seeing them, even when it's inconvenient. Even when it hurts. And she looked at him. For just a heartbeat too long. The audience clapped. Cheers followed. But her eyes didn't leave his. Aiden's chest rose slowly, like he was trying not to react. Because it wasn't just a speech. It was a message. After the debate, they crossed paths outside the auditorium. That last line, he said, stopping her. What about it? His eyes searched hers. Was it about me? Alara didn't blink. If you have to ask, maybe it's not just about you. He exhaled sharply, almost a laugh. You think I don't see you anymore? She smiled faintly, sadness coating it. I think you only see me when you're afraid I'll disappear. Silence hung, heavy, familiar, and then she walked away, leaving Aiden standing there, more shaken than he ever was losing any debate.